Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Monday. It's January 6th. We're going to start a new year here. I hope everybody had a great holiday, great New Year's, and hopefully you're off to a great start here in 2020. Um, it was nice to get a break, but I'm ready to come back to work personally. 2 weeks is precedent for me. I start to get antsy and want to trade by that point. So I'm glad to be back today. We had a pretty good trading day considering uh, really the first. It's really not the first trading day of the year, but um, it's the first Monday of the year. I would say starting fresh. So um, I imagine a lot of the um, institutional traders they probably didn't start back officially till today. I'm guessing as well. So, but anyway, that's either here or there. The volume was good today. The price action was good today. It's been all uphill basically. We really were kind of in a trading range early on. You can see this, but this gap up here, when we started trending higher, you had to assume that gap was our first target. Once we got to there, it was kind of iffy if we were going to go higher or not. But we did, and we're we're kind of going flat. What we're doing is we're working up and going sideways, working up and sideways, working up and sideways, and that's not uncommon when you start to have a big move during the day. And I wouldn't say this is a huge move, but really from the overnight lows 32.10, and we've traded up to above 32.42, so that's uh, that's 32 points basically. So that's a pretty good move for one day, especially just a basic day. One thing to be in mind and to make sure you make note of is that with all the stuff going on in the Middle East right now, it wouldn't probably take much to really set this thing off. It could be a fire keg, and you could get some crazy volatility if there was some terrorist attack, or if somebody gets bombed or blown up again, or something crazy like that. So just be aware of that's really going on right now, and that something like that were to happen, the market could get crazy really fast. So um, especially if they blew up, with oil rocketing up, oil automatically rockets up, especially if you're trading something like that. But if you're even trading the ES, um, if they were to suddenly something happened to some of the couple of the oil wells over there, or somebody bombed somebody, or a terrorist attack here in the U.S., something wouldn't take much to set this thing off. So just be aware of that. Hopefully we don't have any issues. Nothing like that happens. Let's hope that it doesn't. But just in case, be aware of it. Be prepared. Always have your stops in there, your safety stops, and just in case. But never trade. You should never trade without a safety stop, regardless. But definitely, when it's volatile and there's crazy things going on in the world, definitely don't. Make sure your stops in there. Make sure it is um, just a regular sell stop, so that it becomes a market order. Because if you use a limit type stop, I know some people like to use those for their stop. They're okay to use those for your target, but don't dare use those for your safety stop, because if it was to gap over it, um, you're done. Especially if it continues on down, where at least if you got a regular stop in there, when it gaps over it, it becomes a market order, so you'll still get filled at some point. Maybe a lot further off than you hoped for, but at least it wouldn't, hopefully it doesn't wipe you out. But anyway, let's get to the chart here. The main pattern is this two-tiered trading uh, channel that's working up here, two-tiered channel working higher. And you can see that we never really got back to the highs again. And it could be that I've got this off a little bit. It could be that your highs are really right in here and your midline's a little lower. If you adjust that, it still works. And so I was playing it off that high, but I believe this to be it in the end. So doesn't really matter. It still works out about the same either way. There's also the two brown channels that came into play inside this bigger two-tiered uh, channel. And then also you got a lot of these support areas working across here, and even had some resistance in a couple of places. But you know, when you got an uptrend and they're jumping higher like this, you're more concerned about the support level than you would be the resistance level, because we tend to work through that, although you still got to be aware of that. And if this was trending down, it'd be the same thing. You'd be more concerned about the resistance area than you would the support area. Although you still have to be aware, you know, concerned and aware of both of them. So, but anyway, let's back out. We'll go through the trades, and we'll wrap up our first chart lesson of the year, of the new year, I guess I should say. When I came in, 7 o'clock is right up in here where this is turning. And this, if you were here and saw this trade, I wouldn't be afraid to take this, although I'd probably wait on the lower high. And that didn't come to here. And then now you've moved really too far. I'd want to wait on the second entry then. And then you get your second entry short right here. Notice that low, first entry, second entry, and it is also a failed second entry long as well. And then I just look for a measured leg down, which is here. We couldn't quite get there. This ended up acting as support. And so that's a great place. This is a nice second entry long, counting off this new high here. Pull back first entry, then it ticks down again. And you really had a double test here, although I wouldn't trust that one. I'd want to wait on the second entry. And so if you just wait 2 bars, there it is, great entry. Although this did gap over and take off, you probably would have had to at least use a limit order, and you may have got left behind. So this is a double test. If you took this, I guess I should make this at least green. If you took that, you're not, it's a little bit aggressive, but there's reasons to take that trade. My only problem is we didn't quite have a measured move down, and you didn't have anything to confirm this trend line yet, really. What else? A few, that's the main thing. And it is a failed break lower because we had all this support across here, and then boom, and then look how it closed on its high. But again, you're almost always better to wait on that higher low, which came here. So that's a better place to enter. And either one of these, if you entered it, you would have had a runner. And, at that point, you're looking for a minimum of a measured move like so. And you can see we basically had a perfect measured move that would have been a great target. Would have put you right on your target there. You got that new low right here, and you're working up, and you get a first entry. And you actually get a failed second entry short right here, but that's so close to that resistance, and it's not a very good signal bar either. So I would wait, and then you get the little failed break lower, and now you have a double test. You tested this a couple of different times, multiple times actually. That's a fairly bullish bar. And then that's a new low, and so now you get another failed second entry short, and this is your target, and our ultimate target is at least filling the gap. So this was another good trade right here. And at this point, until you get this 2 measured legs up, I wouldn't even be considered in shorts. This channel is still in play at this point, and I just wouldn't consider shorts at this point. So, and then once this continues on higher, because really this is what we're looking at as our target until we see any kind of evidence we're going lower again. Right here, or actually after we made this second leg up, now you have 2 legs up with really a 2-legged correction in the middle. We could have gone lower and you would have looked for a measured move down, but with that gap being up there, I'm still would be leaning towards going higher from this measured move. You just would expect a correction. You see a lot of people probably are looking at that because look how you suddenly get this correction. Same thing here. You had 2 legs up and then suddenly you get this 2 legs of correction. So anyway, nice entry here, and then you get a failed second entry short. You do have to go long at the very high, but if at this point you're nowhere near the upper side of the channel, and at that point I was still playing it up here, and that could have still been it because it fit both ways. Although we do end up getting back to the highs again if you look at it here, but you just don't have a whole lot of evidence that, there's no other way to look at it and say, hey, that was going to be the highs. So it doesn't really help you. But anyway, you got a failed second entry short here. You come back, and then same thing, another failed second entry short. nice bullish bar. It's right at the EMA. Right, it does confirm this brown trend line. Actually, we confirmed that trend line here, and this just gives you another confirmation of it. And you get a little, when it ticked back here and failed and went higher again, if you weren't already in, definitely jump in right there. And then of course you run up here and you try to go lower, and then you get a try to go lower once and then twice, and it comes right off that trend line again. This secondary little blue trend line is holding. Nice bullish type bar that traded way down here and then closed way back up here on its high. It takes a lot of buying to do that. It is close to the highs, but this thing has been all uphill. I'd probably still recommend that you'd want to take that trade. It is a little bit aggressive, so I marked it green. But with all that support there, look at, you got a lot of confluence right there. You got your blue midline, you got your EMA, you got your brown trend line. There's just a lot of reasons. You also have this support across here that we've tested. Look how many bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bars. Actually 6 by the time you would have entered, but it ends up testing it on 7 bars. And you run on up. First entry. There's actually a second entry right there. Not a very good signal bar, but when it gives you another little signal bar right here, and that's basically a double top. So this is still a second entry right here, and now you got a nice bar. Again, with all those different support areas, just go long right there. And this time it runs on up. And we come back again, and you get a second entry right here. It's not a perfect signal bar. It is right off the EMA. It's the first break of this brown trend line. And when I say break, it's the first convincing close outside of it. But you would still expect prices to go higher. So you may take that second entry. I don't like the signal bar. It did close a little bit below the EMA, although it's bouncing here. It does make a 2-bar matching high, and this one is definitely really bullish. But that's an inside bar. But if it breaks higher, we're probably going on up. We didn't notice how we didn't quite fill the gap right there, and it took it a few times to fill it, but it never could go lower. So eventually it goes on up higher. But that is a little bit aggressive. And then we try to come down. There's a failed second entry short here. I did not mark this one. Because again, this was really your signal bar. It's just too bearish. And then now you just got an up down bar, and you're closing back below this EMA again. And we did just come off the high, so there's a good chance we're going lower. So I'd want to wait on something a little better than that. And then notice we got a first test, and you got a double test right here of that level that we made right here. And there's actually a second entry long right there. Signal bar is not perfect, and again, we just pushed through that midline, so there's a chance we're coming down. But when we tested it again, and you get that little failed break lower, let me get my line right where it actually goes if I can. And you can see that little drop down, and then you got this double test of this level here, and a nice bullish bar. I like going, if you got enough room, you got it. And at this point, I'd probably still have this here. Later, I probably would have moved it on up to right along there where we made those last closes. But at this point, I'd still have it right here. And this was just a failed break higher. But again, I don't think you want to take any shorts. So, and this one is close to being blue, but we're not back down to this trend line yet. And so that just concerns me a little bit. And I think you're better off to wait on a higher low, and you get one here, and that's not a very good setup. And then of course you run up, and this is when I would have moved this up where those closes are. And this is basically a double bottom. So first entry short, second entry short, a little higher double bottom here than this little double bottom, a bullish bar this time, and we're continuing to move higher. So that's the better place to enter. That's basically your higher. There's a little higher low right here, but it's not a very good signal bar. So this is your better setup. And of course it takes on off again. And then we're just kind of working sideways, and you drop below and get that little failed break lower. You get a relatively bullish bar, and it confirms that trend line working up through there. So you not only you got the little failed break lower, you got the trend line behind you, And I like that one again because it's right off that brown trend line. And actually earlier I had this right across here basically, but I think it's up here at in the end. We take on off and then we come back again right here, and that takes you into really a 2 o'clock hour. You might even consider that one because it's basically a repeat pattern we've kind of seen down through here. Come back to the key entry point, and it's just barely into 2 o'clock, so you might take that one. I'd look at that as a higher low right there, but again, it's bouncing right off that key entry point. So it is after 2 o'clock, and it gets, we've been moving up quite a bit, and we still haven't got back to the main trend line here. So that one would be a little aggressive, but you may take that one. And so again, just to recap, it's a two-tiered channel working higher. It had multiple different things going on within it though, and that's pretty standard. You had the two different brown channels here working higher. You had the support. As we would get higher, we'd find this support and prices would move higher from that. And a lot of times you'll see these little failed break lowers, like right here, right here. That's one right there. I didn't mark that just in case anybody asked, because we had two measured legs up, and that's a pretty strong move down. It's still inside that trend line, and I'd want to wait on a second entry, or I'd want that trend line to be confirmed, and it doesn't get confirmed until here, and that's pretty congested. But when we tried to go lower again, we got that bullish bar. Most of your smarter traders probably waited for that higher low off that double bottom as well. So, but that's kind of was the MO today. We just kind of shoot up and then go sideways, shoot up, sideways, shoot up, sideways. And that's not uncommon at all to have a day like that. But hopefully your first day back, you had a good trading day. I'm excited to be back and get back in the swing of things. I always like those to get away and get a mental break, but I was ready to come back. So, but anyway, welcome back. Hope as we go into 2020 that everybody has a good trading year and that you continue to improve. And just remember, the way you get better at this is you get as much screen time and sim trading as you can. And the big where you really make the improvements though is at the end of the day, studying all your trades, figuring out what you did right, figuring out what you did wrong, how to correct it, and taking that forward each day. That's what really makes you a better trader. Just coming in and trading, I hadn't said this in a while probably, but just coming in and trading every day is great, getting that screen time, but it doesn't really make you a better trader. What makes you a better trader is taking the time to go back and study all your trades. This is the way I would do it when I was learning. I'd come in, I'd sim trade. At the end of the day, then I would study all my trades. And if you had a bad day, don't let that get you down. Just make sure you study all those trades and figure out what you did wrong. Try to correct it. Figure out what you did right. Try to do more of that going forward. But then after you studied all your trades, just start at the beginning in the morning, be right here, and just go through all the price action and just kind of study it, what it's doing. And just look at all the trades that were the proper trades. Either use my chart to help you until you learn how to figure out the right trades on your own. And just look wherever prices took off from and study that area. Study it diligently. Like right here, we took off from here. Study this. What happened here? You basically found support and had a double test. And you had two legs down. And then you took off from here. And then notice how you took off from this brown trend line every time. Why are we taking off from there? Because it's a key entry point. There's a lot of support there. Same thing here. We finally took off right here. Why? Why did we take off right here? Study that and figure it out. And that's what makes you better every day. You can come in here and sim trade for years and years, and really, if you don't study your charts and your trades at the end of the day, it may not help you a whole lot because you're not really learning. your own tendencies and learning from your mistakes. And that's the key. Um, you know, my trades, my mistakes aren't going to help you at all because your tendencies are going to be totally different. So you have to study your own trades and study your own tendencies and improve them and work with them. So keep that in mind. But I'm going to wrap it up. Again, Happy New Year to everybody. Look forward to having a good trading year this year. But I'm going to wrap it up today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.